In this lesson, we will be exploring a specific type of transaction called the Coinbase Transaction. This is a key concept inside Bitcoin, and after this lesson, you will know exactly why it's there and how important it is for everything that happens within Bitcoin. When we saw the previous transaction, which was Alice sending 0.1 Bitcoins to Ben, and we reviewed it on the public blockchain, we were able to see that that transaction had inputs, had outputs, and it had specific amounts specified. We said that those are the three key elements that every Bitcoin transaction has. And that's regularly correct, except for one exception. That exception is what is known as the Coinbase transaction. When we go back into the Block Explorer, we see all the elements that we just reviewed. We see the transaction itself. However, that transaction, when the miners add it to the public blockchain, is not added by itself. It's actually added as part of a block of transactions. And the Block Explorer gives us visibility into that block of transactions so we can see the big picture. As we see within the Block Explorer, we see that this transaction was included in block 473,137. Let's go inside that block to see exactly how it takes place, and we'll see something very, very interesting. The first thing we'll notice is that there is a transaction count of 2,415. What that means is that that specific block, number 473,137, was composed of 2,415 transactions, of which one of them was that transaction of Alice sending 0.1 Bitcoins to Ben. However, we also see that there is something labeled as Coinbase. And this Coinbase transaction that we see is the first transaction that is shown inside this block. Let's dissect exactly what it is. First, we see that there's an amount for 3.63727040 BTC. And then we see on the output section, we see that there's 16.13727040. That actually corresponds to 12.5 Bitcoins, which is the mining reward that that miner received for mining that block, plus 3.63727040 Bitcoins, which is the aggregate amount of all the transaction fees that were from all the combined transactions that were those 2,415 transactions within that single block. So this is a very important transaction because the Coinbase transaction is how the miner gets paid. Without the Coinbase transaction, the miner doesn't get any rewards. Let me explain further what that means. In every block, there is a Coinbase transaction. This Coinbase transaction has no inputs. It only has outputs. That Coinbase is where the miner issues himself or herself the reward of 12.5 Bitcoins. That is how new Bitcoins are created. They are created within the Coinbase transaction, and it's when the miner successfully rewards him or herself for mining that block. Additionally, that Coinbase transaction also includes all the fees collected from all the transactions which are included in that block. This Coinbase transaction is essential because every Bitcoin on the network can be traced back to its respective Coinbase. What that means is that without Coinbase transactions, there would simply be no Bitcoins on the Bitcoin network. Finally, a key characteristic that is unique of Coinbase transactions is that they cannot be spent for at least 100 blocks. In other words, you need at least 100 confirmations on that Coinbase transaction before it can be spent. This is done as a way to ensure that a Coinbase transaction has not wound up accidentally in an orphan block, such as what may happen when two miners find the nonce at the same time. Then the blockchain reorganizes to follow only one of the two versions. By requiring the Coinbase transaction to be at least 100 blocks deep into the blockchain, you ensure that the Coinbase transaction is valid and truly available to spend.